Right. Well, welcome everybody. Hope everybody's well. It's Friday, the 7th of August. It's been a tricky week this week, but obviously we've got the biggest news of the week today, non-farm payroll. I'm going to go through what is going to happen, not what is going to happen, what we can expect once obviously this news comes out. It's very, very important. We've also had a little bit of a change over in our favorite place at the moment between the US and Iran. We've had a little bit of a change there. There's no escalation as of yet, but it's kind of looking like it might start up again if obviously Washington don't play ball. So I'm going to go through everything, how to lay out. I do think gold is going to be quite a big mover today, but obviously we're going to have to wait and see what happens. So not much is obviously happening in the London session. However, non-farm payroll first weekend of every month or first Friday of every month, it's going to be pretty crazy. So that's the expectation that we've got to have is that it's going to be a little bit bananas, and then obviously we can then yeah, see what happens. So we have got expectations wise, all right. We've got the unemployment rate. This is going to be crucial today. All right. This needs to stay where it is. All right. Because just to obviously make everyone aware, and obviously we'll go into oil and inflation in a minute, but high inflation and higher unemployment is a massive issue. All right. It's probably one of the biggest problems, and obviously that will tear away any kind of glimpse of dollar strength that we have. It will tear it away. So we need to be aware of that. So that is obviously one thing that we need to be aware of. What else have we got here? We got yeah, non-farm payrolls. So due to come in higher than expected was 57K last month. Expected, more jobs have been created, so expecting to be about 30K higher. I would say if we are over probably over a hundred and this, unemployment rate stays at 4.2. Expect massive dollar strength. Expect yields to, fly, and probably expect gold to tumble back to those, lows that we had beginning of the week. Late last week. So that would be the expectation. If this comes in um, around about where it was, obviously our employment data this week. Let's have a look at yesterday. Jobless claims, pretty much as expected, not really moving. Continuous jobless claims were increasing, but not crazy. But obviously, so expectation is that there's probably an expectation that we're gonna, miss. And obviously, it's how much are we gonna miss by, and will it affect this unemployment rate here? So I'm not expecting this to tick down. If this ticks up to 4.3, and obviously this number comes out, more around the 49. If it's less, expect the dollar to absolutely plummet. All right. So these are the expectation. These are the two things that you need to watch out for. These two numbers here, right? Unemployment rate and obviously non-farm payroll. We don't need to worry about anything else here. Nothing else at all. All right. Now, let's have a look at obviously how the dollar's been doing. It's actually been acting, really, really slow. All right. We can all agree this week, apart from gold, we've not really had a lot happening. So not really had a lot happening. Dollar struggled to break below 99,500, struggling to break above 100. Now we are gonna have either this one here or this one here hit. We just need to wait for the data to come out. What am I expecting? What am I expecting? I'm expecting a slight miss, but I'm expecting an unemployment rate, to make it really, really hard. I'm expecting the unemployment rate to stay where it is, but I'm expecting there to be a slight, miss. So I'm not expecting, 78K's worth of new jobs. I'm expecting that to come in slightly under. So you know, but obviously you have to be humble as a trader, all right? You have to be humble. You have to not, and I think this is a massive issue, and I used to have this issue, and it is quite hard. And obviously, we can all, I'll ask you guys in the chat in a minute, but obviously, how many of you have obviously blown an account on gold, and it's been going, say for example, to the upside, all right? But you're just trying to, sell it, right? And and it's because you don't, and it's humans. It's as we are, wired. Once our mind makes up one direction, it doesn't matter what the charts are telling us. We just try and sell. How just put if that's happened to you, just put yes. All right, because I know it happened to me over and over again. So just put yes in the chat if that has happened where you've kind of looked at it afterwards when you've, run out of money, run out of equity and thought, oh, why, what was I thinking? It was just going up. Yeah. Yeah, it happens. It happens to us all the time. Often stood in front of a moving train, Greg. Buys after change of direction gets me every time. It's one of those where, if you were to ask even a, non-trader, should I be buying or should I be, selling? They would probably tell you what to do, But it's obviously how our brains worked, in regards to and it takes an awful lot of uh, training out, but the main thing is when that happens is just stick to your routine, stick to your routine. However many trades a day that's in your plan, stick to it, and obviously accept that, what, some days I have it often where everything's going against you, because it will happen, because every time that you're picking out a trade, it is your choice. It's your analysis. There is a reason why no one's got 100% record, and there isn't anyone, So, it's that's obviously the only thing that you can do is, stick to your plan. But anyway, so what what am I expecting? London. I'm expecting dollar to probably stay in. Let me draw it with a box instead of trying to do a child's drawing. I'm expecting dollar to kind of stay in this range here. Let's have a look. So Asia has had a tiny movement here. I'm expecting it, yeah, probably to stay in this kind of a range here. I don't think we're going to have much, much movement here at all. So we're going to try and play off of that. I'm not going to be able to post afternoon trades today. So what I'm going to do is line everyone up, so you will understand, what to do and obviously what not to do. So let's obviously go through the Iran situation at the beginning. Yeah. All right. So we have got de-escalation, but we've got Iran's not playing ball at the moment. They basically threatened the Gulf countries that if we don't get an agreement, they're going to start, targeting energy plants and key areas, within the Gulf country, so that's obviously one thing that we've got to be aware of is that this this is basically people like Saudi, Oman, that they're going to be putting a lot of pressure on Washington. Because I think what is actually gradually happening is even the Gulf countries are starting to get a bit irritated, a bit annoyed with the US because they're creating this problem all the way over here, you know? And then you've got Iran here, Gulf countries here, they've all got US bases on, so that they're all, trying to play by the rules here. The US have strategically put their bases here. All right. It's no different to obviously what's happened in Russia and Ukraine. Part of the reason why this whole thing is kicked off is because, the UN, wanted to put a base in Ukraine, and obviously Russia, didn't like it. Well, they're very, very smart. They know where the potential problems, might be, or the conflicts might be. So they obviously put their bases in other countries. Now you've got all the Gulf countries here, haven't got an issue. But obviously because they've got US bases on, they are yeah, it's they're the ones almost on the front line. And the US is all the way here. They know that Iran's never gonna, send anything over. So, all their people are all, safe, and it is wrong. And so I don't think escalation is gonna happen today, but obviously that is the expectation. I actually think it will happen. I don't want it to obviously happen, but I think it will happen. Yeah, yeah, it's complete mind games. Everyone should know that Iran are, stubborn. All right, and you've kind of don't blame them. They don't need any imports. They have everything. All right, so they're playing that game because yes, 20% of the world's energy comes through there, and they have their own bit of control, and it's obviously how they play the game, So yeah, we're gonna have to wait and see what happens. And then we'll kind of yeah have to play off of it. But I really really hope it ends because I hate all of this, and it's making trading really really hard. So one 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 thing that yes we sorry, I'm reading messages here. iPhone 4, people say it's oil, but for Gulf countries, in biggest fruit and veg importer, and that stopped. Yep, yeah, everything's stopping. You got to think. I think we've all learned a bit about how important that trade route is. So everything is stopping. So but obviously oil is the key. Everyone understands supply and demand, and if you take away a big amount of supply, demand becomes more, price goes up, inflation, bang. That's like a 101 child's play way of looking at it. So that's obviously what we're kind of looking at here. We obviously have had, and this is sessions here, because of this because of this issue. We've obviously had this cr creeping up here. So yeah, it's sorry, I'm just reading this here. We've oil in the Middle East, don't need Iran's, they need veggies. Maybe, but I'm not sure the world runs on, fruit and veg. So yeah, yeah. But yeah, yeah, yesterday we saw obviously yields pop up. We saw oil creeping up again. We're back to 77, but still in that range where we're obviously happy. Remember, anywhere below 80, we're happy. Again, once the non-farm payroll, news comes out, you obviously want to be monitoring, yields and oil too, so because yes, if these are slowly starting to creep up, and we obviously have good dollar employment data too, you know, dollar could, like it did the other day, where it crushed from like 101 all the way down to, 100. We could see it, kind of skip this and pop back into this area here, this kind of middle target here could potentially, get hit, obviously, if we have, very, very, very good data. I do think we're going to struggle to break below, if we are looking here, and if I clone this, we've got our next kind of target on this will be 99. I think that's low. But you know what? We'll keep it up there anyway. But I'm expecting, things to kind of dollar to strengthen slightly, but let's wait and see what happens here. So moving on to our trades for this morning and for yesterday's trade. Obviously, if employment stays where it is, if jobs data is good, you want to be buying the dollar. If the unemployment rate increases and jobs data isn't great, you want to be selling it. All right. So we'll go through gold at the end, but we'll obviously lay everything out here. So these are obviously our trades from yesterday. We put this in at 8. So was obviously hoping for price to drift up, and then continue to the downside. Trades have been slightly slow, but I've been happy. I've been pretty happy with us kind of taking our time. Everyone should have previous daily high marked up and previous daily low marked up. All right, that's key. That's going to give you, kind of yesterday's range. All right. And then we want to be obviously marking out Asia. Look, Asia's tried to break through this, low here and popped up above it. So we're currently breaking above Asian high here. So we're going to put that one in as well. Let's make that one blue. All right. So that is our Asian high. All right. Just put it up and make sure it's accurate. There we go. All right. And so, I mean, I actually think that we've got to try and target this, low here. I don't think we're gonna tap yesterday's low and yesterday's high this morning. So I quite like the idea. Sorry, my phone's vibrating. There we go. Um, so so yeah, that's obviously what I am kind of looking at here. So if we were to look at this, and all I'm going to say to everyone, trade a bit careful today. I'm expecting a little bit of a pop up here. I quite like where we are right right now. So if we did 350, I think we're going to go 350 here. 350. Then we'll do 708. Let's do 8. How's that? What is that? My brain's not switched on this morning. Oh no, we want to do it a little bit more than 3 pips. So I think we're going to go for something like this. My brain is not working. I want to go for about 15. There we go. I'm going to have a slightly bigger area here. I don't know if I want to go for 15. We want to trade quite small because I don't think there's going to be a hell of a lot of movement here. So I'm going to do something like this. Then we can have stops. Let's go a bit below for 20, and let's make sure we're nice and tight, because I don't want to do anything crazy. That way we are targeting, obviously, we're allowing it enough space for the Asian high, but obviously then, allocating enough or oh, wait, I want to get rid of this. There we go. Pretty happy here. Right. Let's just do these now. I'll blast these out and then we can open up for any questions that you have. 3, 4, 5. There we go. That's our stop here. Remember, just all I want to say to everyone, trade safe this morning because it's one of those where it's a bit of a tricky one. We're going to go for this area here. So that'll be our TP1, and this is our TP2 here. All right. So just want this to pop up once more into this area. We've got quite a nice allocation here. So I'm pretty happy. Right. USD. So someone's coming in. Sell trade idea. There we go. That is number one. GBP USD. We're going to go for the same here. But obviously, again, we're going to mark up everything, make sure that we're all happy and we're all good. So daily wise, yesterday wasn't the biggest day. If we look at the whole of the daily range yesterday, that is small for pound, so 30 pip daily range. But we're going to mark it up anyway. Put that in yellow, and then we'll do the next one. So that was the whole daily range yesterday. Asia's actually been pretty active. So Asia, I'm going to put that in blue again. Blue and blue. There we go here. Something like this. So you can tell here price is bunching. All right. There isn't, it's pretty horrid. So I'd much rather be around this kind of area here. Let's just have a look at this. 60, yeah, 7, 60, that'd be 20 pips. I don't mind that too much. Anywhere in this kind of zone here, we have a nice tight, I quite like a 15 pip stop loss. So let's go for 30 pip TP, 15 pip stop. How does that look? Yep, happy with that. That's, just obviously targeting just below this Asian low here. And then I don't think we're going to have too many issues with that one. 2, 3, 3, 4, 5. So just mark these ones up. Red. Yellow. Remember when you're laying out your trades, it's all about, making sure you're giving yourself that highest probability. And obviously, some pairs you can obviously allocate things a little bit tighter. Other pairs can be a bit more, kind of, you can, allocate slightly more. But we want price to come into this area and then obviously die back down again. So just put this one in. Cool. Trade idea. There we go. Perfect. Right. Last but not least, we're going to do euro and then we'll go through gold here because I'd rather stay on the, safer option. So previous day, not too bad yesterday. Quite a good range on euro. Quite a good range. Quite a good range there. And then we're going to go hourly. I mean, look at this for Asia. I mean, that is the whole of Asia is moved. I mean, yeah, 7 pips, which is really slow. So probably just going to mark this high here. You know, I don't even think it's worth marking the low. I think that's going to give us a good allocation here. I don't want to go too crazy because I want to go for like a let's match obviously pound because then we're allocating for a drift in. Let's just have a look where we are here. Right. I'm just going to put that there, but I'm going to have a look at this for a minute. 50, 450. There we go. Yeah. I like that. Then get allocate. Probably do. I reckon. I reckon same. 15 and 30. So we're not kind of taking the biscuit too much. You know, we obviously want it to drift into our area to then obviously pull back down to these lows here. So that's what I'm expecting on euro here. Just to kind of challenge this previous daily low. Five, there we go. There. I think we're going to have it on this range here. That's our TP1. And this one here is our TP2. Right, I'm happy with that. We've got a nice range there, nice allocation. And then I'm going to just do this one here, right? So your USD, sell, trade, dear. There we go. Right, perfect. So that is obviously how we're laying out. Yen we're going to stay away from, which is okay. Not really going to tap into that. If you look at how slowly all this price has been, moving here since we obviously had this big bust up, there's pressure to the upside, but not too much. And I think it's one that we want to stay away from. So gold here, the key markings, because I 100% think gold is going to have a big, swing here. All right. So we're going to mark up the daily high and daily low previous. All right, that's our previous here. Let's mark these in yellow like we have been. So yellow, ooh, yellow here, right? I mean, yeah. All right. Then we're gonna have a look at let's just have a quick look on weekly. All right. So I'm also gonna add a box in here, right? And this box is our weekly range here. Yeah. All right, so that is our weekly range. Let me write some of these out for everybody because I think it's going to be important. Daily, uh, previous the day, high. Make these a little. I'm going to go down a few because I want these to be in the right place. There we go. Right, previous daily high. Go. We're going to mark all of this up for everyone so it's nice and easy. Right. Previous weekly high. It's not previous, it's the weekly high. All right. Weekly high. Yeah. And then we're going to mark up weekly low here. Weekly low. And we're going to mark up the previous daily. So previous daily low. Yeah. All right. So everyone should understand what is happening here. Then we've got Asia. All right. So let's mark up Asia. So Asia's not been a bad move. So we've got Asian high and Asian low is just around obviously that movement here. All right, just around this movement here. All right, there we go. That is pretty much how we obviously want to mark it all out. Yeah, put this there, make everything nice and tidy. That's our previous weekly, or that's our weekly. So, gold's obviously had this huge move up Wednesday, and then it's not really done a lot that Thursday because we are waiting here. All right. Now, if we zoom out, all right, we're obviously pretty much, ranging. We broke out of our range here. I think that if non-farm payroll, if employment stays where it is, and obviously we, have a pretty good influx of jobs, we're going to be uh, targeting this area here. Yeah, 100% it'll fly. Uh, I think we're going to struggle, but obviously it's worth, keeping everything marked up. All right. If we have a miss, that's when it gets a little bit tricky because we do have potential escalation, which is, it's kind of battling because if yields and oil rise, all right, then that's gonna, yes, gold is gonna wanna rise, but it's also got this pressure here from, yields rising. But obviously, if we don't get that, then I'd be looking at potentially targeting this area here and it could even rise higher. So either way, we're pretty good. We're looking at a nice from where we are, probably yes, huge. Probably a 1,000 pip move either way. Is what I'm kind of expecting, yeah, from the non-farm payroll today. So potentially this area here or coming back into this range here where the middle of our kind of weekly is, so probably around 170 or potentially four, say to be safe, like 440. So those would be my expectations. Right, let's read some of these here. So we've got do you think this morning will be rangy? Yes, Greg, I do. VP, Aussie has triggered. Let's have a look. Aussie has triggered, yes. So hopefully we can have a nice little dive down here. Remember, trade trade safe once TP1 hits, Paul stops to break even. Yeah. Greg, tug of war between NFP and escalation. I don't think it's going to be because I think they're going to want to wait until, Sunday night if there is escalation. So, that's we'll wait and see. And does anyone have any more questions? Any more for any more? Happy to answer. Otherwise, we'll end it here. I hope everyone has a great Friday. I'd say, I will be I'll be, I'm flying back tonight, so it's going to be about I think it's about 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, when I'm flying. And so, so yeah, I'll obviously have to wait and see. But obviously, yeah, from, Sunday night back to normal. What I'm going to go over as well in the boot camp next week, um, so what I'm going to go over in the boot camp is scaling in gold because I did very, very well on this yesterday and the day before. I'm gonna one of the sessions. I'm gonna explain obviously what I was using and why, how, and I actually think that that'll be a really, really good boot camp for us to do because as long as you're not over leverage, yeah, scaling on gold as long as you've got the right target and right stops is pretty easy. So I'm going to go through that on Monday evening. I'm going to add it in. So yeah. But no, have a great Friday. And yeah, I'll keep you guys updated throughout today. So have a good one, team. Have a good one.